Hey. So if you see the title, we're obviously making chicken cordon bleu. I don't know a whole lot about the dish. I did just do some quick Googling, and apparently it means blue ribbon in French. But what I know about chicken cordon bleu is that my brother knew about it first. I don't know if it was somebody else in my family, but for some reason I distinctly remember my brother wanting to have this when we were younger, or at least some sort of variation of it. As I was younger, I very distinctly remember having at least something similar to what I'm about to make. So get yourself a chicken breast. This one is massive. You can clean it up if you want to, but I don't think there's a whole lot for me to clean on these. What I'm going to do is butterfly this thing. Actually, I'm going to do it from the bottom because it makes it a little bit easier. Just simply take it, start cutting it. And it doesn't really matter if you get holes in it because we will be wrapping this up at some point into a little chicken package with ham and cheese in it. So you should be left with a massive hunk of chicken. All right, get that pressed in between some plastic. Get yourself something heavy. I don't have a meat mallet anymore, but I'll be using this stainless steel pan. All we're trying to do is get it evenly thinned out because before I even started, you could see it was kind of like wavy. All right, I'm gonna call that good enough. If you look at it from the side, you can see that it's pretty much where I wanted it. All right, I'm gonna finish the rest of these real quick. So yeah, I just didn't want to bore you with, smacking chicken with a pan and being real loud. I bet my neighbors love me right now because I live in an apartment. Now that I have this done, I'm gonna do something that's usually not done with chicken cordon bleu, or at least that not that I've seen anyways, which is I'm going to be putting it into a buttermilk brine. So I have some normal fat buttermilk right here. This actually says old recipe Bulgarian style buttermilk, which is just normal buttermilk. I'm gonna go ahead and use all this. I don't really have any other reason to use buttermilk, at least not that I can think of. I am from the South, but I'm not so Southern that I drink buttermilk. But I do know people who do. And I also want to give some extra flavor to this. I will be adding about 2 teaspoons of hot sauce. If you have more, or if you want more, add more. This is just literally all I have left. Also going to add in about, let's say a half teaspoon of onion powder. And then we're going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. And then let's just finish that up with a couple teaspoons of salt. You could probably skip this step if you don't want to brine your chicken at all. I just want to add some moisture to it. I want the enzymes and the buttermilk to break down the chicken a little bit. And I wanted these additional flavors. The hot sauce is going to add a little tang to it. The thyme will add a nice earthiness to it. Onion powder will add a nice oniony, it'll add onion. And then the salt obviously will season it. And then wrap it up. And we can let it sit for anywhere to 6 to 12 hours, but I'm going to leave mine for around 10 hours. So all we gotta do right now is get this chicken out of the buttermilk brine. And you kind of want to wash off any excess of the brine. You don't need all this on there. So you can even squeeze it if you want. Now what we're gonna do is get this a little more dried off and just lay out some paper towels. Go and get yourself a few ready because it's gonna take a few at least. Lay your chicken on there, pat it dry. Now, the next step that I'm going to do, I'm just trying to get a fancy presentation. You can do this if you want, if you're trying to impress somebody. But honestly, what you can do is just take your chicken, put your ham and cheese right here, and just fold it in half. And then toothpick it, cook it like that. That's perfectly fine. But if you want some fancier looking chicken cordon bleu, just follow along what I'm doing. Get one of your chicken breasts, splay it out like this. Hit it with a pinch of salt on the inside, as well as a nice pinch of pepper. And then we're going to take some deli Black Forest ham, a couple pieces of Swiss cheese. And what you're going to do is pick up the edge and just start rolling it. Rolling it like a big old fatty. And this is massive. This is really big. But once you get it rolled, take some plastic, put it seam side down, and roll it as tightly as you possibly can. Just trying to make a nice little package that it will mold into. Really, you can go ahead and do this the night before if you're planning on having this the day before. Let me get the rest of these done real quick. I'm going to let these sit in my fridge overnight. You don't have to do that. Just let them sit for an hour. All we're trying to do is get these to kind of firm up so they keep their shape whenever we go to bread them, which is the next step. All I've got here is a couple of eggs. I've got my crushed pork rinds, and I've also got some toothpicks ready to go for whenever I finish breading them. And I'm going to start with the big boy. This thing is 1 pound, 2.5 ounces. So it's pretty damn big. Remove the plastic. So all I'm going to do is put this in the egg. Carefully roll it around a little bit. We don't want all that time wasted in the fridge for this just to, you know, unfold. I'll take some pork rind crumbs, press that on there. And just to keep these kind of like intact while they're cooking, I'm going to find the seam. I'm going to put toothpicks through this, probably 3 to 4. And just don't forget they're in there. And there we go. We got our nice little chicken ham and cheese package. All right, so after an executive decision made by my board of directors, we've concluded that the last one's going to be just, you know, cooked like this without the pork rinds on it. And it's definitely not because I ran out of pork rinds and didn't plan well enough for this video to be able to coat all 3 of these. But no matter, it should make a good little experiment, see if one's better than the other. What I'm going to do is put these into my air fryer at 400 degrees for roughly 15 to 20 minutes. And if you want to cook yours in an oven, set your oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit and cook it for what I would say roughly 25 to 30 minutes. Just be sure to check it with a thermometer. You want the internal temperature of this to be around 155 to 160 to kill off any extra bacteria. But if you're following along with what I'm doing, this was in the air fryer for roughly 20 minutes. Hey, I know I'm in the middle of cooking some chicken Cordon Bleu right now, but I just wanted to break in and let you know the best way to support the channel is to check out my company, Carnivore Companion. We sell seasoning that's free from fillers, sugars, no BS in general. We currently have these 5 flavors: smokestack, taco shake, steak dust, spicy ranch, and gator bite. If you want to support the channel, all you gotta do is go to CarnivoroCompanion.com, use the code CarnivorousChef at checkout to save 20% off, and turn your food from ordinary to extraordinary. All right, let's just go back to what I'm cooking. 31 minutes. So you may be wondering why I only have 2 of my chicken Cordon Bleu sitting here. This took a lot longer than I expected. The Thick Daddy is actually still cooking. And I just want to let you know that while that is cooking, I'm going to give you some updated timing and temperatures. Let me get down here. All right, air fryer, 375 for roughly 35 to 40 minutes if it's this big. That big one's over a pound. These are probably like 12 ounces. Oven, 375 for maybe 40 to 50 minutes, just depending on how big they are. Just check them at the 30-minute mark. Just use a handy little thermometer. Make sure you're roughly between 160, 165, just to make sure that the inside is cooked all the way through. And if you don't have one of these, I'll leave an Amazon link below, just something cheap that'll work fine. Let's let these cool off. They're still pretty piping hot, and I'll see you back in about 10 minutes. And while those were cooking, I went ahead and made an easy sauce. To a bowl, add about 1 cup of sour cream, 2 teaspoons of mustard. I used spicy brown, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a pinch of black pepper, and then about 2 teaspoons of grated Parmesan cheese. Give that a mix. And set it aside while we let our chicken finish cooking. After waiting, slice it up a little bit, and this is what we're left with. We got one of the pork rind coated ones and the non-pork rind coated. They both look pretty similar on the inside, but I do want to give these a taste. As you can see, we got a pretty decent Swiss cheese pull. Add just a little touch of sauce. And okay, the pork rind one was excellent. Added a little crispiness to it, which was really nice compared to all these like softer textures on the inside. Let's take a bite of the one without the pork rinds. This one was really good too. It's actually a lot more different than I expected. The roastiness you got on top of the chicken added a much different like roasty flavor compared to the roastiness on the pork rinds. They're both actually really good. The buttermilk comes through, that thyme comes through. So I gotta say, no matter which one you choose, I think you'll be happy with either one of these. And if you don't want to do the whole waiting overnight or even just waiting at all, you can always just take your chicken breast, pound it flat, put ham and Swiss in the middle of it, fold it over, and cook it. Just don't let me overcomplicate how you want to eat this, but if you want it to look nice, it's a good way to do it.